Hi, this is Kevin Thomas. Welcome back to the At Home Film Festival. Christmas is behind us, but we still have holiday movies. But don't turn away, because I am bringing you movies that you may not necessarily think of at the holidays. They're not all about, hey, let's get together on Christmas and celebrate either Santa, Jesus, or whatever your beliefs are. They just sometimes take place during the holidays. So here's some alternative looks at some movies that you may not think of to add to your holiday viewing. So let's think about them and add them. Let's get going. Thanks. So the movie Last Christmas does completely take place at Christmas. I mean, the title is Last Christmas. By the way, it is, yes, based upon the George Michael song. And writer, actress, Oscar winner Emma Thompson fleshed it out and turned it into a really beautiful love story between Emilia Clarke, who plays a young woman who works in a Christmas store, very irresponsible. She might as well just call herself a kid. Till she meets the super handsome Henry Goulding from Crazy Rich Asians. They have what is a beautiful story to be told. Love this movie. It also showcases London at the holidays. In fact, there's a cute little park in this film that when I went to London a little while after this with my friends Lisa and Michael, we looked for this park and it was pretty. Trouble is the park was closed. It's open 3 days a week. This is even before the pandemic. But we did manage to reach our camera through the fence and take a few pictures to make it look like we enjoyed the park. But it was nice seeing the park in the movie, and it was just nice seeing it up close and personal, although briefly. But this will be the only movie on this list that takes place completely during Christmas. So if you're tired of completely themed Christmas movies, this is the last one I will talk about. So let's move on. Our next movie could be viewed during Christmas. It could be viewed during Easter. It could be viewed during Halloween, because all of those holidays take place in this film. Or it could just be viewed because you want to watch a really good movie. Steel Magnolias was first a play with only women in the cast, and the writer Robert Harling also did the screenplay, and he added some male characters, which I thought was a nice touch because they didn't overpower the movie, but they were kind of adding a little spice to a great recipe. Anyway, this movie has also one of the most amazing casts. It's got Sally Field, Dolly Parton, Olympia Dukakis, Shirley MacLaine, who should have been up for an Oscar for this, Daryl Hannah, and some little actress I don't know if you've ever heard of. Her name is Julia Roberts. That's right. When this movie came out, Julia was the only person in the cast no one had ever heard of. And yet she walked away with an Oscar nomination for this movie. And of course, that was her final supporting role before she became the star that we all knew. This movie also resonates well with gays because there's so many big hairdos, like a drag queen. It could be very over the top in some ways and has such very quotable lines that I just throw out every now and then. If you can't think of something nice to say, come sit next to me. Hey! Take a whack at Weezer. So many good lines. This movie's so funny, and yet it also could break your heart at some point, which I won't tell you that point, but you'll figure it out. Oops! Male butts. Anyway, love Steel Magnolias. It doesn't oversaturate us with Christmas, so this is a good alternative to watch, right? The oldest movie on my list is Desk Set. By the way, it has a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes. It does take place during Christmas, but you know what? It's not really a Christmas movie. It's about a TV network that decides to hire an efficiency expert and his stupid computer to come in and take over all the research, probably firing all the women in the research department. I wonder who wins the battle between man versus machine. The answer is woman. That's right. These women fight back, show that they have the knowledge. This is actually one of the first movie in color with Tracy and Hepburn. They made 8 movies together, maybe 9. This was the second to the last one. It was really good. I think this movie is so fun. Also, nice little side note, the writers Henry and Phoebe Ephraim, who were multiple times Oscar nominated for movies, they actually are the parents of Nora Ephron, who was also up for Oscars for movies like When Harry Met Sally, which is a great New Year's film. So put that on your New Year's list. And you could watch it any day. You could watch it on Christmas, you could watch it on New Year's, you could watch it on June 28th, any random day. So why don't you watch it? This movie is a total sleeper success. The Silent Partner. It won a whole bunch of Canadian Oscars, and yet America doesn't know a lot about it. It actually was just on TCM recently, and for a few dollars, you could rent it on some other streaming devices. But Elliot Gould plays a bank teller, one of his best performances, and you always forget how great he is till you see him be great, where he figures out that someone's going to rob the bank. So guess what he does? He robs it before them. But the guy gets blamed for it. Well, he doesn't take this lightly. Christopher Plummer, who we all just probably recently watched as Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music, he is so menacing in this movie that he will stop at nothing to get the money that is rightfully his. I like the way a bank robber thinks the movie's rightfully his, considering it never was his. But anyway, I think this is a fantastic movie. And you know how it ties into Christmas? I don't know if we've seen it yet, but he robs the bank dressed as Santa. Or, ho, ho, ho. Now we're getting into action and fun, so you stick with me because I have two sort of interesting, bizarre movies at the end. But before that, Die Hard also makes all the lists of alternative movies people talk about. So I couldn't not mention it. But Die Hard, if you remember, is one of the greatest action movies we've ever seen. Collectively, we will all agree. And it takes place at Christmas, just like Die Hard 2. Die Harder, I think the title was. An interesting little tidbit about this movie is my mom loved movies too. When I read her the plot of this film, she had no interest in ever seeing it. It didn't sound good to her because, she's a love story person. But I put it on anyway. It was late at night. She watched the whole thing. And then she said, "Kevin, is there a sequel?" I said, "Yes, Mom, there is." And then when the third part came out, she goes, "Kevin, let's go to the movies to see it." So Die Hard has Die Hard fans. Whether you're an action lover or romance, it's really well crafted. It was hard to take this movie seriously, and you shouldn't. It's called Fat Man. Okay, Mel Gibson plays Santa, and this evil, awful little kid who does anything to get what he wants. Santa knows if you're naughty or nice, so he gets coal for Christmas. Well, that little kid decides, guess what? Hire a hitman to kill Santa. Yes, he is after Santa. That's how evil that kid is. I decided, though, he's not the most evil child. The little girl from the bad seed, she was more evil because she would have killed Santa herself. She wouldn't have hired some thug. Anyway, this movie is so over the top and outrageous. It even shows, there's that coal. It even shows the diet of an elf, which is all delicious, yummy things that's healthy for them. But I really enjoyed this movie. The most interesting part to me, besides just the plot, was I think almost for the first hour, you see no bloodshed on screen. Like, people do get killed by the hitman, but it's in the next room, you hear the shot, and I don't even think there was any swearing except for a text on his phone. So I was thinking, oh my God, this might be the best movie about hired killers and violence that you could watch with a child. But then the second hour happened. So if you try to watch it with a child who doesn't mind hitmen without blood, send them to bed after the first hour. Because let me be honest with you, it's a bloodbath out there. Okay, I'm ending the show with this extremely outrageous movie. And there were 4 of them. I only watched this one, but it's Gingerbread Man. Okay, so gingerbread men are always around during the holidays, but Gingerbread Man. How could I not want to see a movie called Gingerbread Man 3, Saturday Night Cleaver? So get this. The gingerbread man gets in a time machine and goes back to 1976 during roller disco. So here he's killing people left and right on the dance floor. It's so stupidly outrageous. And gays will like it because it's got really famous drag queen Jackie Beat in it. It's got, of course, your good disco dance moves. It's really bizarre. Also, in many ways, it pays tributes to movies like Porky's, as we see here, and the movie Carrie. You gotta watch Ginger Dead Man. You gotta watch them all. The first one has an Oscar nominee in it called Ginger Dead Man. But I think my next one's gonna be Ginger Man 2, The Passion of the Crust. What do you think? So that was my list of holiday movies. I look forward to enjoying them with you. I'd like to hear your comments below and give me suggestions of other movies to watch. This is a new year, so for New Year's, I'll probably watch my tried and true classics of When Harry Met Sally, as well as The Poseidon Adventure, but I've also suggested Sex and the City and The Last Holiday. But in the meantime, Happy New Year, And this is a year you could drink because you're at home. So go ahead, drink all you want, sleep it off, enjoy your holiday, and I look forward to a better 2021. In the meantime, I'll be back, subscribe, share, and I'll see ya!